Hello. When I was little, my parents used to read me lots of adventure stories. I read them all. Treasure Island, Peter Pan, Princess Bride, all of them, everything. And as a result, I began to get a yearning for adventure. So, at the grand old age of 8, I ran off to Portsmouth where the tall ships are, and I got on one, the Legis Pullus. It was a grand old lady of the sea, and our captain, an honest, though strict man, was a grand old man of the sea, although a little seasick. Sail from Portsmouth and go all the way to Portugal, where we would buy sweet wine, tapas, and straw donkeys. The man on watch spotted something. It was another ship, sailing fast, faster than any of us could sail. And the man sailing this terrible ship, that terrible man himself, was none other than Peglegs McGraw, the pirate with the 2 mahogany legs. He was the toughest fighter on 7 seas, provided it wasn't frosty. What's more, he was an evil man. A man so evil he could give you a paper cut on your finger, and then, pretending he's making it all up to you, give you a packet of salt and vinegar crisps just to hear you scream. Yes, it was that kind of man that boarded our ship that day. His ship had cannons, and they took over us very, very quickly. Within no time at all, me and the crew were tied to the mast. The fiend even used double knots, and our pirate captain was on the plank. Not even his best plank, his 3rd best. This was particularly cruel. If you thought having a salt and vinegar flavoured crisp on a paper cut would make you wince, imagine the bite of the shark with the salty, salty sea. Our captain looked worried. He started to scrabble in his pockets. "Ha ha 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 ha!" said Peglegs McGraw. It was a very good evil laugh. Either he practised in the mirror, as I did, or he was just naturally very, very good at it. The sharks were singing, "Dinner, dinner, 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 dinner." "You will not escape," said Peglegs McGraw. Now, I know this is a cliché, but at the time, we really felt like we wouldn't. The sharks were so close now that we could see them. They were so hungry they could have licked their lips if it wasn't for the fact their faces were so pointy that their tongues would have fallen off had they licked them. So instead, they had to make do with putting little napkins round their necks and rubbing their bellies with their fins. Dinner, 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 dinner. But then our captain found what he'd been looking for in his pockets. He pulled out 2 insects. These were no ordinary insects. These were woodworm. And these were no ordinary woodworm. They were posh woodworm, educated at all the finest schools. They even knew which order to eat dinner with all the cutlery. These woodworm would only eat the finest. And they thought the finest was mahogany. The captain threw the woodworm onto Peglegs McGraw, and within seconds, Peglegs McGraw was no more. Well, his legs were no more. His peg legs were no more. It was just sort of his torso and his arms and his, unmentionables. So, we yipped and we screamed. And then, the captain cut the rope. So, we all swung back onto the Legis Pullus and sailed away a bit. But the sharks looked upset, and the captain looked like he had something about him. He reached back into his pocket and pulled out a silver casket. When he opened it, there were 2 more woodworms, but these were not woodworms like the woodworms before. These were the 2 hungriest, sharpest teethed, woodiest eating woodworms that ever existed, and he threw these 2 woodworms onto the ship, and the woodworms, they ate the ship, and the sharks, they ate the pirates. And so everybody was happy, and we sailed on to Portugal to get our things. Everybody except the pirates, of course. And that's the end of the story. There might be some more, there might not. Bye bye.